Spiderman PS4 was one of the most highly rated PlayStation exclusive titles. It was released in 2018, so we're back almost 2 years later to do an in-depth review and see whether it's worth your money in 2020. So let's get into it. First of all, I think we should talk about the story and the graphics, as these are some of the biggest highlights and talking points of this game. Because the plot is just so damn good though, I will be extra careful to make sure there are no major spoilers in this video. The storyline of this game would easily have been good enough to make it into a movie, and when I say that, I seriously mean it. Insomniac have definitely achieved their goal of making you feel like you're playing through a real movie here, which is what makes this game rather unique. Whether you're fighting a criminal gang, uncovering clues, or foiling enemy plans, the plot twists, cliffhangers, and the unpredictability of the story will keep you coming back for more. Put this amazing storyline with some pretty insane graphics, and there you have it, a recipe for an amazingly immersive game. The graphics really do make this title a thing of beauty. Sadly, obviously, through the uploading process to YouTube, you won't be able to fully appreciate it from these clips, although hopefully you get the idea. I'd even go as far as to say that this is the best looking game I've ever played. The lighting is near perfect, with reflections, street lights, and the environment in general looking amazing night and day. The atmosphere of the game completely changes depending on the time of day, which shows just how realistic this game feels. The textures also look amazing, which makes for realistic streets and buildings that are really like no other. The quality of the animation is also up there. People look so damn realistic. Some cutscenes look so good that you may find yourself wondering whether some of them had been filmed in real life. And wow, do they take every single opportunity possible to shove another cutscene in front of your face. Whether you're in the main story or even a side mission, there are hundreds of them, all perfectly crafted with the same amazing graphics that you see during gameplay. These scenes definitely add to the immersion and the movie-like feel that you get from playing this game. The cutscenes are also sometimes playable, sometimes partially, for instance by requiring you to spam square in one instance to stop a car, or sometimes fully playable. At a couple of points in the story you will play a scene as MJ, completely unarmed and reliant on stealth with no HUD, but we'll get onto the gameplay in a minute. Overall, the story and the graphics are an 11 out of 10 as they make for such a realistic and immersive gameplay experience. So onto the gameplay then, where we'll have a look at the movement before diving into the combat. The web swinging in this game is very good, and there are a few different ways to go about moving around, although it does have a few minor flaws. The traversal is incredibly accessible and easy to pick up. A jump and a hold down of R2 will have you swing through the air, and it's easy to control your speed and altitude. The animations look great and flow so well, once again creating that sense of realism. You can also use the web zip feature to quickly zip to a point. This is a great feature as it allows you to easily move around during combat while also providing a way out of most situations. The downside to this system, however, is that there is little margin for skill. What mechanics there are incredibly refined and work well, although there is less depth to this movement system compared to other titles such as Web of Shadows. A player who has played just an hour of this game will be just as fast at getting from A to B as someone who has completed the entire game. This is all in the name of accessibility though, which for many people is going to be a good thing. Overall, this does not however take away the fun factor. Swinging, diving and launching off the tallest building is still satisfying and entertaining enough to make travelling between missions fun. So now let's take a closer look at the combat. It really is pretty cool, and unlike the traversal, there is much more here to set apart beginner players from experienced players, and it's also just really great fun. There are so many different moves that you can utilise depending on who you're fighting, and the gadgets just make this even better. As the story progresses, so your playstyle, you won't just be getting better, but you'll also have to adapt, because as you play through, the enemies you come up against will become very different and more challenging. The sheer amount of combat options give you freedom to do what you want. For instance, when you're on a rooftop, you can basically just shove them off the edge for an easy kill, or when you're fighting non-human enemies, the electric webs are especially effective. There are also difficulty settings, which was really nice to see. This makes the game once again very accessible to new players, while also being a good challenge for the OGs of the Spider-Man games. As you fight and complete combos, you gain focus, which fills up in this bar here. Focus can be used to heal or complete a finishing move. Finishing moves are great, and yes, they give you another slow-mo cutscene. Unlike many games, these moves are varied and will adapt depending on your surroundings. For instance, if there is a wall nearby, Spider-Man may backflip off it to deliver a knockout blow. During combat, you can also throw nearby objects at your foe, such as bins, car doors, or even motorbikes. And if you so choose, you could even hurl one of your enemies back at the rest of their gang, which I find quite amusing. There are also boss fights peppered around the story. While I do enjoy these boss fights, they are often quite samey and follow the same formula most times. You dodge one of their attacks, get a punch or two in while they're vulnerable, and then you do this for a solid few minutes before finally pinning them down. For me, I find it quite repetitive, although it's not the same boss every time. There are, I believe, 6 of them who all have quite different abilities, which does change things up quite a bit. Overall, the combat has a lot of depth, is fun, and while it is relatively complex, this is helped by the difficulty settings. The boss fights are also good, but not great. Onto the general gameplay then. Throughout the game, the main story missions will be highlighted by a yellow marker always visible on your HUD. You're never forced to go to them, although there are occasional audio cues, often via a radio message, encouraging you to get back to saving the city. This system never feels too pushy though, which is quite refreshing as it gives a good sense of freedom. The game also gives you time to get on with some side missions, which range from infiltrating criminal bases and hideouts to some of the most random things imaginable. You could be chasing down a pigeon, yes, a pigeon, or be required to complete some time trial-like activities such as taking down drones or other similar but random obstacle assault course kind of like tasks. The randomness will usually have an accompanying backstory, probably with some more cutscenes, to make them seem slightly more relevant. The side missions help to break up the main story, although sometimes I do find myself forgetting about them. There is some incentive to complete these random missions though, other than just to take a quick break. Each type of side mission earns a different type of point. By infiltrating an enemy base, you earn a base token, stop a crime, and you earn a crime token. You get the idea. These tokens and points can then be spent to buy gadgets and new suits. The gadgets in this game are a very nice addition. As you play through the game, you'll be able to buy new gadgets and upgrade them to add to their recharge speed, damage, or capacity. The gadgets add even more depth to the combat and allow you to change your playstyle for different enemies and situations. For instance, strip mines are great for stealthy takedowns, and concussive blasts are great for when you go in guns, or should I say webs blazing. The option of different suits is also nice to see. There are loads of cool suit designs, although they aren't just cosmetic. Every suit comes with a suit power, which you can activate by pressing R and L3. Suit upgrades range from extra health to bullet deflection. This allows you to customize and personalize your gaming experience a bit, while also providing more incentive to complete the side missions. Overall, I believe that this game is an absolute must for pretty much anyone with a PS4. If you haven't played this yet, then you really are missing out. This is one of the best PlayStation exclusives, and it's an amazing game as well as an experience. It's only £17 in the UK on Amazon and around $20–30 in the US. There's actually quite a good deal on Target where you can get the Game of the Year edition for $24.49, which is pretty good. The Game of the Year edition, if you don't already know, includes the all DLCs, which adds 3 additional large sets of missions onto the end of the story, although you can buy this separately off the PlayStation Store for around £30 or dollars. But if you are interested in the extra missions, then definitely get the Game of the Year edition. I'm also going to leave some uninterrupted gameplay at the end of this video, as it is quite cool and fun to watch, although it'll also give you a good feel for the game. So anyway, that's my final verdict. I'll let you make yours. If you have enjoyed or found this video useful, then a like or a sub would be absolutely amazing, as I've spent so many hours scripting, recording and editing this video. I'm also not too far from 1,000 subs, so I just wanted to say a massive thank you to everyone who has subscribed so far. Stick around if you want to see some extra gameplay, but otherwise, that's all for this video, so I'll see you guys in the next one.
Never seen Rhino walk away from a fight like this. He must be working on orders from Dr. Octavius, making quick hit and runs on the city's emergency response teams.